Okay, so I believe I'm live again. I'm going to do a live this time instead of a recording. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. It's 3:49 a.m. It's 8/13, 2025. I'm hoping not to be on here very long, but I just wanted to give the latest update on the tropics here. So let me Hey Paula, how are you? Good to see you. Just going to do the latest on the tropics. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Hey, Miranda, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Dandy, how are you? Good to see you. Um, let me, give me 2 seconds. Whoops. Let me get 2 seconds here. What am I doing? I'm hoping not to be on here too long, but I just wanted to do an update on the tropics for everybody. So let me play my intro, and I'll be right back. Good to see you. Wow, it's so good to see everybody. I didn't expect to see too many people on here, but it's always good to see everybody. Dandy's in here. Good to see Dandy again. Always good to see Dandy in here. Dandy's amazing. Paula's in here. Paula's amazing too. Hey, Mustang, how are you? Good to see you. There's Miranda right there. Good to see Miranda. Thank you for coming in. You like the music? That's funny. I didn't think anybody would like that. What are you going to do when you get stuff like that? It's always good to hear some feedback. Cumbersome 55's in here. Good to see you. It's always good to see new faces in here. Let's see here. So I just wanted to come on really quick. I've been following the tropics for the last few weeks or so, and things are getting a little bit better organized here. So let me get right into it. Let me hide my face. Sorry. You like it? That's cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It took me like 5 minutes to do. It's good to see Mustang. It was good to see you the other day over in Farmer's Channel. Farmer's amazing. Farmer's a great guy. Um, Thank you, Miranda. You're awesome too. Let me, like I said, let me hide my face here, uh, and I'll get right into some of the maps here. Hope everybody's doing well. I know it's been nice and this has been like the best summer ever here. It's been nice and warm. It's was 91 again today. We got the meteor showers that are supposed to be going on here tonight. Um, it's good. Farmer is great. Farmer's amazing. Farmer is definitely a good guy. Let me see what's going on here. All right, let me share this here. Yes, it's always good to see everybody. Like I said, we got two technically, 2 or 3 areas that people are freaking out about. We got Erin right here. But like I've been saying the last couple of days or so, this area here, too, in the Gulf, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this here too, because this might be a problem, especially for southeastern Texas here. Um, But according to everybody that I know, this seems to be the biggest threat right this very second. But I wouldn't be surprised here if this invest here, because that's what it is right now. It's just an invest, but this is going to kind of go across the Yucatan Peninsula here. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, but this was a hotbed of activity last year. Once things got over into the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico here, Gulf of America, whatever you want. This has been going to be a problem here, I think. But let's just dive into Erin here first. We'll go. So this is the latest. I think this is the 11 p.m. advisory, Atlantic Standard Time, Tuesday, August 12th. So we'll get an update here shortly. It's 3:55 right now here. So we'll probably get another update here within the next couple of hours or so. So Erin could move close enough to the Northern Leeward Islands, which is right here, Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico over the weekend to produce some impacts in those. However, the magnitude of these impacts is still not known. But I still think, even though this, hold on a second, and I'll put this in here. So here we are, like right in here. It's still a storm. It's basically just a tropical storm at this point. And here's some of the information here. If you're plotting at home, it's basically 16.7 north, 40.1 west, 45. So the wind speed hasn't gone up any, but I just checked the barometer and it seems like it's come down a little bit. It's at 1,004 millibars, and it's still moving at a really good clip at 20 miles per hour. That's like Indy racing speed right there. These systems typically on average is about, I'd say, 10 to 14 miles per hour. I think the reason why it's moving pretty fast here is because it's over really chilly water here out of that. And it's kind of gliding along the ocean here as opposed to kind of kicking up the ocean water here. So it's basically just skimming along here. But we'll go to a map here shortly, and this is advisory number 7. So every 2 hours or so, I think now they're going to come out with an advisory here on this here. But it's expected to kind of dip a little bit more south here in the next day or so, and then kind of get into a little bit more warmer. I'll get the temperatures on the ocean soon here. But once it gets over into here, I'd say 55 west, you're going to start seeing this thing kind of really take off here. It's going to get to basically hurricane status, which is 74, winds above 74 here. And then when it gets over right above the Leeward Islands here, this is going to be, instead of, like 80, 82 degrees here where it is now, you're going to start getting into 84, 85 here. So this is when it's going to supposedly take off. But let me check my chat. Good to Peggy O is here. Good to see Peggy O. It's always good to see Peggy O in here. I can't believe there's that many people in here. Thank you, Paula. Paula's amazing. Yeah, if you guys don't know who Farmer is, Farmer's awesome. I wish I had his link, but I don't. Derek Farmer, he's people probably know him anyways. He's I was over there the other day. He's a funny guy. All right, so what am I doing here? Let's I'm going to attempt to pull up some maps here, but my computer is really slow, so we'll see. Hold on. Let's do the loop. I'm loving this weather right now, though. It's just absolute. I don't even have a jacket on. All right, so basically, this is this side of the planet. This is our side. And here's this is the Gulf here. This is Florida, Texas, Central America here. This is the African coast here, and this is basically the open Atlantic in here. So here's uh, this is Erin right here, um, and it's still looking pretty awful. Like it was. What's today? Today's Wednesday, right? So a couple of days ago when it came off the coast here, it was looking really good, but now it's kind of it should go in motion here fairly shortly. Actually, let me okay, here we go. Let me shorten this up a little bit. Maybe we can get a better. Okay, very good. Um, okay, so it's getting light out. To sunshine's coming in here. So in about another few hours, lighter here. But anyways, there's our system right there. And can I? Yeah, right there. Okay, so right in here, you can see. Um, Again, it's looking pretty crappy right now. It's looking like a tropical storm. It's really, I mean, there's a little bit of a center here, right in the middle here, but all these clouds are basically off to the north and the south. There's no real outflow right now. It's not looking like a buzzsaw feature here. And that's because if you see this blue here, uh, and I'll get that more enhanced when we go to the water vapor, but if you see this blue, I don't think I've ever seen a storm come off this north here in this parallel here, because usually they come off where this one is, and this is going to be another area to watch down in here, um, because there's a big temperature difference between the water temperature where Erin is and where this system is here. And I think that's what's going on with this thing here is this water, hurricanes need kind of like 78, 79, 80 water temperatures to really um, to develop. Uh, but once it gets back, along this grid here, um, you might see this get a little bit more organized. But you can definitely see a little bit outflow here. It may be encountering some shear here too in the northern part of it, which is kind of blowing these cloud tops off. But hold on a second. Let me I think I can all right, so basically what I did is I put the kind of like the lightning data in on top of these systems here, and you can see, there's not a lot going on around the center here, so it's kind of uh, it's just not well organized right now. It's just not. Um, but this is the other system over here that I've been watching for like the last few days right here, and this system actually might hit land before Erin does. So I'm going to keep an eye on this here too. But we'll get, and the Pacific is completely. I mean, the Pacific right now is having a hard time getting going too. So, but this other system down here to the south here, let me go here. All right, so here's our system here, and I just put the longitude and latitude lines up here to give some guidance here to where we are. So you can see it's basically just kind of moving almost due west. You can see a little bit of a dip here to the south, but see how north this is though? This is so I'd say between um like 15.5 and 16. This is technically in this zone here, what they call the intertropical conversion zone. So this is a little bit north of that, and that's why it's probably having a hard time Here's your Cape Verde Islands right here. So it's a little bit north. It did create quite a bit of flooding over here in the islands here. There's been a lot of people, unfortunately, that lost their lives here from this. But this is the other system down here, and this was looking much better yesterday here. But I guarantee you, this is going to be the next. If this system over here in the Western Caribbean doesn't get a name F, then this will be the next storm here, because there's just a lot of convection around here, and I wouldn't be surprised within the next 24 hours or so that this gets named. All right, so let's go back to the chat and see what's going on here. Hey, Melissa Wildcard, good to see you. Melissa's in here. Holy crap. It's always good to see Melissa in here. Melissa's awesome too. Hope you're doing well. I just figured I'd come on here really quick and give. Been following that case going to true crime out in Oregon there, that Jesse Calhoun case. They just tagged him with another unaliving, I think. I'm going to try to go over that case Saturday night on the live, because that's an interesting thing right there. Okay, so let's get out of the maps really quick here, and I'm going to go to some water temperatures. And I got to remember to share this here. All right, so let's get some all right, so here's some of the current rip current risk, and this is going to go up. This is definitely going to go up in the coming days here, but they already have. I believe this is this this might be. I don't know what this is. This is Jamaica here, I think. 80. I don't know what this is, but wherever this is is getting a little bit of a moderate rip current here. The eastern part of Florida coast here and up all the way up into New Jersey here. But as this storm kind of gets more, west here, you're going to see these rip currents go up. And the rip currents on the East Coast have been pretty high this summer here. It's been rip current hell. So anytime you get these systems that kind of are producing 14, 15, 16-foot waves, this is going to be a problem here for regardless of whether or not this hits anywhere near the United States here, the rip currents are going to be a problem. So I just wanted to point that out too. And this rip current risk here down in the Gulf is because of this other system that's down in here. But all right, so let's go to rip currents are bad. If you're out there in the ocean, it can be pretty so let's get some water temperatures here. This is the Atlantic here. So this is what's going on right this very second. This is valid through 8/11. So this was they're going to update this again today, probably. So so this is where Erin is now, right in here. Here's Africa here. This is basically where Erin is in here. And you can see, it's kind of in this cooler here with a 28 here, so that's about 84, 85 degrees. And then this less brown here, this is when you start migrating north here, the temperatures really go down the tubes. So where it is right now is it's kind of having a hard time getting going because it's not really tropical as it can be. It's and it's moving pretty good. It's going, 20, 22 miles an hour. So it's basically trying to get out of this cold water here. But once it dips down into here, say the 10th parallel here, you're going to start seeing this thing probably slowing down and gaining a little bit of strength once it gets into here. The Gulf, on the other hand, is completely different. Like the Caribbean here, you're talking 86, 87-degree water temperatures here. And when you get into the Gulf itself, you may be even higher than that. So if this system that I was just looking at crosses the Yucatan Peninsula here and gets into the southwest Gulf here, when it gets in here. But I'll be keeping an eye on that. As you can see way up here in New England, the temperatures really cool down quite a bit. It's freezing up in here, water temperatures. But even up here, it's pretty warm considering. All right. So let's get some anomalies and then we'll go. That's what these systems need. They need warm tropical water. I mean, that's basically the fuel. That's why they call it the tropics, because it's nice and warm. Okay, so here's some anomalies here, but see, this is a strange year for the Atlantic, because look at all this cooler water in here. This is I've been following this all year here. This is pretty in the tropics. This is freezing cold here. This is so if anything develops ways down south here, it doesn't have a chance in hell to form at all. But these are our two systems right in here, and you're starting to see this get a little bit more, above average here. One, and this is hold on a second. This is trying to follow 3. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're one above in this zone here. So once Erin starts moving along here to the west, it's going to really start to, the pressure is going to drop. You're probably going to be, when you get into this zone here, the pressure is probably going to be down about 980, and then probably even lower here. And that's when you're going to start seeing that rapid intensification happen. So by the time it gets, close to the United States here, you're going to see probably a category 2, category 3. All right, so let's go. I want to go right now to, let's do water vapor. And I'm going to do my life right here. All right, so this is my baby here. This is the water vapor imagery from space satellite looking down, and you can see anywhere where there's water vapor in the atmosphere. So you have 3 major components, actually 1 major component here in the Atlantic. You have your Bermuda High that's basically smack dab in the middle of the Atlantic right here. You have counterclockwise motion here from the Bermuda Highs. You notice all of these other systems are basically going around this general area right here. And that's because it's basically like a huge dome of pressure. And these systems here, these lower pressure systems here, cannot penetrate these high pressure systems. So they kind of have to skirt around it. So you can't go through it. It's basically like a huge stop sign. It's stopping anything from going through it. So this is the steering current of what's going to happen with these systems here. So where this is going to go. So it can't go this way. It's too far west to take a right and go out to sea towards, the Eastern Atlantic. So it's basically going to have to go and follow along this path here. And you can see this high pressure shifting a little bit. Actually, hold on, let me see. So you can see this high pressure starting to shift a little bit towards the west, right? So you see this coming, you see this moving. That's the theory. This is going to go around here, then try to take the elevator ride to the north here, northwest. There's also high pressure here in the Gulf, or basically right outside the East Coast. There's another high pressure system here. So this is going to have to go. It's probably not the Gulf. The Gulf is out of this. The Caribbean islands here, Cuba, anything west of, I would say, the Leeward Islands is pretty much out of this one here. They're not going to see anything from this except for maybe some high surf here. Um, but let me go down a layer here because I'm having trouble seeing this other one here. All right, so I just basically went from a higher level down a little bit lower to the surface here. So, and you can see this dry air here. This is all um, drier, cooler air up here, and that's this high pressure system that's causing that. So here's our system here, and you can see it's really having a hard time getting that buzzsaw look, and that's because of it's bumping into this cooler water here, this high ridge here, and it's really having a hard time. But this is going to keep moving off to the west here, and when that does that, this is going to try to get underneath this here, because this other lighter yellow stuff here, this could be Saharan dust here from, but this is definitely cold air in here. The darker yellow is here. This is definitely cooler air, but this other stuff here looks like that might be a little bit of this Saharan dust from, this basically kind of like a foggish type stuff that lifts off the coast here. But it doesn't look like it's getting into this system at all. So this system here has been able to kind of fight off this cooler air here. So it's going to try to scoot underneath this here. And there's this other system that I've been watching here. And then we got over here, you can see this circulation here. You can see if you go by the Yucatan Peninsula here, eastern Yucatan Peninsula here, you can see the center of circulation here. And I'm telling you right now, once this thing gets over land here, it's probably going to lose a little bit of its juice. But once it gets into the Gulf here, if I lived in Corpus Christi or just a little south of that, southeastern Texas, I'd be monitoring this here because this wherever this high pressure system here, and you can see everything going around this high pressure here. So, yeah. All right. So let's get back to the chat. West Side's here. It's good to see so many people in here. Yes, but barely any snow in the last 4 years here in New York. This is exactly what happened last year. Everything was really quiet. We had one storm, an early storm, actually, an early Atlantic storm last year. Was one of the lowest pressures ever recorded in, I think it was July. But then it got really quiet. And then everything just started to go to shit here in the Western Caribbean and the Gulf. I mean, it was just. But I do want to give me a couple seconds. I want to do one more thing here with this map while I got it up here. The trick is here. Hold on a second here. This is too early for me to get any type of consensus of what is going to happen coming off the coast of America here because 7 days. 7 days from today would be Monday. So in about 7 days or so, when this starts to get closer to the eastern seaboard here, there's supposed to be a trough that comes down here, and that's supposedly going to be taking this system out towards the open Atlantic. So it's basically going to do what these systems always do and kind of curve around this high pressure here and then head out to sea. So it's the likelihood of Erin making any landfall here along the coastline is uh, going to be virtually impossible. But um, again, things can change really quickly here. But let me go back to where am I? Right here. I do want to check this out. Sorry. Right there. See, the center of this is now right there. It's over land here. So that's why it's a little bit more disorganized than it was earlier. Um, but this here, hold on. Yep, there it is. It's I'm telling you right now, if this looks like it's kind of going a little bit more north than they thought it was going to go. There's the center right there. So this is lifting a little bit here. Anyways, sorry. Um, oh, this is out west. Okay, sorry. Um, so here's Erin here. And this is a pretty good loop here. So you can see it's starting to get a little bit more south here. If you look at the center, it's kind of split between these two systems here. So it's basically right in there. But you can see the last couple of frames here. It starts out and then it dips a little bit south in this parallel here. So here's August 13th. Erin likely to become a hurricane over the central tropical Atlantic in a couple of days. As of 11 p.m., so this is a couple hours ago. It slowed down a little bit to 20. It was 22 yesterday. Minimum central pressure was 1,004, so that's fluctuating a little bit. It was 1,006, and now it's back down to 1,004. But you're going to need to see this drop below, 980 or so for this to get to hurricane status. But um, that's probably going to happen. You see some outflow here, some inflow here, but you're not really seeing that kind of like buzzsaw look here with the center. But that's probably going to change in the next couple of days. I'd say probably by Thursday, Thursday night, maybe it was become a hurricane. There's that dry air here that it's kind of following here, but this is going to dissipate. So once this moves more west, it's going to blend in with the warmer water, and this will be gone. All right, so let's what RGB losses are this year, and this is the day convection here. So it usually happens at night over the Atlantic. It's going to get cooler, right? So the convection's probably going to calm down a little bit. And then when the daylight hits and the sun comes out and it starts to warm the water up a little bit, you'll notice that it gets a little bit more convection around the center. So this is, this is looking down at the convection here, the nighttime, daytime here. So you see some banding out here. These systems pull all of this moisture into the middle. And you see, convection here along some of these bands. So this is going to be a big storm as far as width. But I'm just not seeing it's got a little shear here going on to the north of this here. So you see this here. Looks like some shear that's kind of pushing these cloud tops away from the center. But it's probably going to change over the next couple days, especially once it gets down into this parallel here. You'll probably see that shear dissipate. All right. So let's get a forecast and I'll get the hell out of here. Good to see everybody, though. I can't believe I got 5 people in here. That's amazing. New comments. Big Fish is here. Good to see Big Fish. Like I said, Saturday night, early Sunday morning on the True Crime Live, I do want to get into the Jesse Calhoun thing going on out there in, is that Oregon? I think that's Oregon. It's an interesting case because for the longest time, they were saying there's no SKR out there, and come to find out there is. You're in New York. We're probably going to get some rain later today, some thunderstorms, because it's going to probably not be as hot Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but not by a lot. But we might get some thunder boomers later today. All right, let me put my cigarette out before I burn my hand off. All right, so let's get a forecast here. This is the time of the year, though. This is, what is it? It's the 13th. So we're almost halfway through August. So peak season, the hurricane season in the Atlantic is the second or third week in September. So this is when the Atlantic really starts to get going here. This is perfect timing. It's just like every year. And they're still calling for an above average season. So anyways, let's go to a couple of forecast models and then maybe we'll watch some professionals and then I'll get out of here. So here's like I said, these are the 3. This is a no-brainer here. This is nothing here. This is actually extra tropical at this point because these waters up in here are frozen. So this is just going to be nothing here. But this other system here, I'll keep an eye on that with the forecast here. But this, see, they have this going more south, but it's already heading kind of more north than this here. So I'll leave that for the people that get paid the big bucks. All right, so let's get, we did the water temperatures, right? So single model. Yep. Okay, so this is the GFS model, only the GFS model. And this is the 7-day forecast here. So we'll play this here and I'll try to rock it so that Well, here's our system right here. But right off the bat, you can see like there's activity to the north, east, west. But in this area here, this say 40 north, uh, 30 west to 20 north, 50 west. There's nothing in this area here. And that's telling me that this is where the high pressure is because everything else is going around it, trying to avoid it at all costs. And so isn't this system here. So, well, what's going to happen is it's going to push a little bit more to the west. And that's what's going to cause this here to um, kind of ride wave, so to speak, kind of along this parallel here. And then once it gets to, and I want you to watch this up here too in Canada here, because this is where this trough is supposed to come down right there. That's the beginning of it right there, anyways. And then try to steer this away from the coast. So, um, okay, so here we are, 14th. And here's our system right here in the Gulf, getting back over water here. Friday afternoon. Here comes another wave off the coast of Africa right now on Friday. That's still kind of north too. So, but here we go. Let's start this again. This is Saturday. You'll see that green dot right there. And that's telling me that that's when they're saying this is going to be a hurricane. So by the time it gets to about 59 west here, that's probably when it's going to be. And that's Saturday. Um, it's probably going to be a hurricane before that. So I would say probably Friday, late Friday, Thursday, or Friday. All right, so let's go here. And it looks like the Leeward Islands are completely free of any catastrophe here. So let's and then once it gets here, you'll notice another change to these colors here, and this is when it's going to probably be uh, a major hurricane of probably category 3 or above here. Um, and then I think that's it. And this is on Tuesday, the 19th. This is 156 hours out. And then that's it. And then that's all they have for now till Wednesday. But it looks like it's going to do exactly what everything else does this time of the year. Basically going to come up here and curve around this high pressure, and this trough that's going to drop down here from Canada is going to just pull it out to the Atlantic. So, but that doesn't mean anything. So let's, things can change. That's the forecast now. So let's go to, so this is the ensembles. This is both the American model and the European model here. So this is a whole bunch of models in there here. And you're going to see a lot of crazy shit, right? You're going to see some models taking it into the Caribbean here, some models, but everybody's in consensus, right? Till about um, 60 west. I mean, everybody's in pretty much cahoots here that this is where this is going to be Sunday. And here's this, I think this is the beginning of this trough here. Um, so that's Sunday. See this elevator ride here. See how it gradually starts to go up, 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 and then by Sunday, we're at over 22 north here. So this is that ride it takes when it gets past this high pressure here. It's going to try to the least oppressive path, right? So it's going to go around and then catch up into this trough and get out of here. Uh, and that's when everything goes crazy now. Everybody's got um, some taking this to the north at 60 west, some taking it to the north at 70 west. And then these crazy models here that are taking it into the Gulf, which is probably not going to happen. So I'd say by Tuesday, we're probably going to know whether or not this. Um, I don't think this is going to be a landfalling East Coast hurricane, but we'll keep an eye on it for sure. But here's that other system doing all crazy shit here. Oh, but see again here, this is a problem here. I think. Let me go back a little bit. A couple of these models have this one in the Gulf, kind of taking a northern. Like I said, if you're in Corpus Christi by Friday, um, I pay attention to this area here for sure, because the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, whatever you want to call it, the Gulf. Once things get into the Gulf, all bets are off. We know the Atlantic. The Atlantic is pretty much solid, but the Gulf of Mexico, man, with the water temperatures the way they are right now, and the uncertainty to where this is going to go. If I was in, Corpus Christi, all the way up to maybe Houston area, I'd pay attention to this because last year we had this very same situation where this kind of just crossed the peninsula here, got into the Gulf, and just rapidly intensified. It was a tropical depression in the morning, and then in the afternoon, it was a full-bled Category 2 hurricane, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger. Remember that? So I'll keep an eye on this here. But this system right here could actually uh, make landfall before anything Erin does. So I'll definitely keep an eye on this because I've seen these things happen before here in the Gulf. So and that's it. Thank you, Melissa. It's always good to see. I hope you're well. Um, at East, um, no, no. I think the only thing we're going to get out of this is Erin. Maybe is some rip currents, pretty strong rip currents. Uh, I mean, the rip currents have been tough all year here on the East Coast. So, um, you know, it is. I don't know what's behind me. What's dark behind me? Uh, anyways, let's try something here. Let's get a professional on this here, and then I'll get out of here. Um, let's punch in this here live. Is anybody else live now? No, right? All right. So this is 4 hours ago, 21 hours ago. Um, Trying to find something recent. This guy here. Let's do this guy here. This is 7 hours ago, but what is this one here? Last summer when hurricanes going on, coming back from Six Flags, we had to pull over, tornado warning. Couldn't even see. Yeah, it's tough when you go through that. That's the problem with these systems. It's a lot of times people don't focus too much on those vortices that can happen, especially to the west. But they're scary for sure. They'll flip your car over, so you got to be careful. Usually awake, I go to bed early and wake up early. This my time. Oh, awesome! It's always good to see you. It's always good to see everybody. I'm still kicking. Huh. All right, what am I doing? I need to shut up. All right. Let's do this guy here. All right, so these are the professionals. This is 7. Let's do 5 hours ago, 7 hours ago. We'll just start this. Yeah.
Welcome, folks. It is Tuesday, August the 12th, 2025. This is Hurricane Hub Live, streaming on 13 News Now Plus. I am Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandada. Special shout out to our viewers on YouTube. We really appreciate you chiming in the comments section, asking questions. We love to address them during our segments that are every weekday at 8 p.m. right here on 13 News Now Plus. Tonight on HHL, it's a busy one. Of course, we've got Erin way out there in the Eastern Atlantic. And you know what? It's struggling a bit in the Eastern Atlantic. Right now, it's not in a very favorable environment for intensification, but it will get there as it moves farther to the west in the coming days. Shifting model trends in regard.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. Like I said, worst case scenario, probably some rip currents. I guess the biggest issue right now is where that trough is going to set up on the eastern side of the country here. But I mean, if I had to bet on it right now, I don't think anybody's going to see anything from this. Maybe the fish. Bermuda, though, I don't know.
To the overall storm track. Yesterday, models were favoring a little bit of a nudge to the west. Today, a little bit of a nudge to the east. And that we are expecting to continue. Model flip-flopping with so much uncertainty in the long range. A lot of variables in play here that we're going to talk about the steering variable as we get into the upcoming weekend, what the upper level steering may look like as it gets towards the Lesser Antilles by that point in time. And could Erin...
Paula, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. I hope you're well, Paula. Always good to see you. I'll see you at some point this week. Definitely Saturday night on the live.
Which will be Hurricane Erin in a couple of days. Could it be our season's first example of rapid intensification? We'll get into.
I've learned from past experience that there's two models, right? There's a whole bunch of different models, but the two major ones are the American computer model and the European computer model, right? And I think there's like 17 or 18 different points that each one of those have, right? So when it comes to Atlantic season hurricane stuff, the European model is much more accurate usually. The American model has taken great strides. Like, it's getting much better than it used to be. Like, you just looked at the American model and say, that's not going to happen. But I usually put a little bit more stock in the European model, especially on the longer term forecasts. The American model is usually better with the shorter term stuff. But this is a little bit more tricky because there hasn't really been anything in the Atlantic for a year and a half. And the intensification is going to vary in this because the waters haven't been stirred up at all. for the last year or so. So what happens usually if you have a conveyor belt kind of type system where you have systems crossing over the Atlantic, it kind of stirs the warm water up to, you know, bring more cooler water to the surface. That hasn't happened. So, um, you know, the Western Atlantic water temperatures are really warm right now. So, you know, it's going to take a couple of systems to come across to really upwell the water to create a cooler. Uh, right now, where Erin is, it's frigid. I can't believe this storm is even there, because it's very unusual for a system to come off that north, in the Atlantic in those frigid waters. And I mean, frigid meaning 78, 77. I mean, to us, that would be nice and warm, but to tropical systems, that's actually fairly cold. Um, but that's probably why it's having a problem, you know, really getting that buzzsaw look and that, you know, uh, hurricane status type thing. But it's going
to exactly what that means and what's somewhat anticipated in the forecast, the intensity forecast put out from the National Hurricane Center as we get in the.
See, this was done 7 hours ago, so things can change a lot in 7 hours. But if you look at this imagery here, it's barely a tropical storm at this point. You have all the convection basically in two parts. You have the center here and a lot of shear going on to the north of this. Shear meaning you got winds that are kind of blowing these tops off here from the west to the east. Down to the south, it looks a little bit better here with some wrapping and stuff. But, you know, normally in this, here's your Cape Verde Islands here. So normally, you know, these systems that come off to the south of these Cape Verde Islands here have a much better chance of surviving this trip to the, you know, eastern seaboard here than something like this here. But it's going to dip, and it looks like in this frame here, it's a lot more south than it was, say, yesterday. So
Later part of that period out by Saturday into Sunday. All right, here's a look at the current imagery. We are going off the 5 o'clock advisory with the.
and it was 1,006 millibars at 5 p.m. yesterday. So, you know, that's borderline tropical storm right there. The pressure is the most important thing. When you see this drop below 980 or so, this is going to be a hurricane.
8 o'clock intermediate advisory stats here. Okay, so that's an update on its intensity and its location and its forward movement there. The 5 o'clock advisory is a full update, and we get the track update with that, and I'll show you that too in just a second.
We've had storms here. We had Hurricane Irene. You guys had Hurricane Sandy down there and Irene. We had the big one back in 38. We had Gloria. Gloria was in the 80s, I think. We've had them here. Nothing. We're never going to have a Category 5 here. That's just almost impossible. But we've had some hurricanes here for sure.
Second, but on satellite imagery, infrared imagery here, and
the water up here is way too cold to support any kind of a Category 3 and above. I think, you know, it's just by the time these storms get to us, they're almost extra tropical because they get into, you know, 70, 60, 50 degree waters. It's way too cold for a tropical system, and they call it extra tropical at that point because it loses basically all of its tropical moisture. It's really, you know, warm down in here. Even up in here, this is 78, 79. We'd love to have that off the coast of New England for sure, but it doesn't happen. So but New York is a little bit warmer. You know, you got the jet stream that kind of goes up to, I think, the Delmar Peninsula. So it's, you know, you can get Carolinas and stuff can get them for sure. Hurricane Sandy was pretty bad.
We use this, I like to use this because it tells us the temperatures of the cloud tops. Colder the cloud tops, the stronger the convection or thunderstorm activity surrounding the core of Erin or any tropical system. And we can kind of see it here as we play it out over the last 6 hours. In fact, let's go to the last 12 hours here. And you can see that it looked pretty anemic earlier today. It was almost stripped away of all of its convection. But in the last couple of frames, notice we're starting to get into that nighttime convective burst that we saw playing out last night, starting to build back some of that.
I've been following hurricanes since I was like 13, I think, 13 or 14. And that was way before computers, man. That was, we used to have ham radios and buoy reports from radio observations, buoy observations, shipping. I used to have maps all over the room of the Atlantic. No such thing as computers, so it's a lot easier now. You get click of a button, you get satellite imagery. It's amazing. Back then, it was a completely different story.
Convection overall under the hood structure is still intact. It's just the convective nature of things kind of died out because, as I mentioned when we started this video, it's a little bit of an unfavorable atmosphere. We've got dry air in place. We've got a little bit of some wind shear. Sea surface temperatures are not very supportive of tropical intensification at all. They're in the upper 70s. You need 80 or warmer, but it's moving into a very favorable environment here, probably within the next 24 hours or so. And that's when we'll start to see these numbers start to climb. Wind speeds will climb, and we'll start to see that pressure come back down, likely sub 1,000, probably within the next 24 hours or so. And you can see here in the last couple of frames that burst in intensification. Well, not.
See, it looks good here. This is the visible here. This is, I can't get a visible right now because it's too dark in the Atlantic, but the visible is basically a real image. It's not like a fake. They don't put colors in, and but the visible, you can definitely see, some outdraft here, definitely a center here. The visible is going to give you a much better look at these systems, but I can't get that right now because it's too dark.
Not really intensification, but at least convection returning and forming around the core. Now, switching things up and looking at visible satellite imagery, as I mentioned, the structure is still pretty sound. You can see definitely an evident spin here. You can see that well-defined core with Erin, but off lurking to the north and west, you can see kind of that stable air. You got a stable cumulus deck here well to the north and west, and that is indicating the dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. Not much lifting mechanism.
This right here in this area here, I think especially this stuff here, this is more of that Saharan dust. I don't know if they know if this actually impedes or doesn't impede this stuff here, but it's been just really strange here the last couple of years. This intense Saharan dust here has been, prevalent. And, we really haven't seen the last two seasons. We really haven't seen an active Atlantic season. So I'm wondering if this Saharan dust is, you would think it wouldn't have anything to do with it, but any type of dry air in these systems here,
going on out there. We've got the Saharan dust. The rust color here is relative humidity in the mid-levels of the atmosphere that's just too dry to support any sort of tropical moisture. And some of that dry air has been injecting itself into Erin here, wrapping around its overall circulation. But eventually we'll see that drier air retreat and this take a little bit of a dive to the west-southwest in the coming days. So here's the track that came out at 5 o'clock. Again, we'll get these updates at 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then 11 a.m. and 5 a.m. In terms of track updates. And in between those, every 3 hours, you get the intermediate.
Well, here's the Cape Verde Islands. They call it the Cabo Verde. I don't know why they call it Cabo. There's no O there. It's Cape. I've been calling them Cape Verde Islands forever. But this one came off pretty far to the north of these. Usually the trajectory is it comes off here and goes underneath the Cape Verde Islands and then down south of that. There's a big difference between water temperatures here and then south of the Cape Verde Islands. It's almost like a 13 degree, usually like a 12 to 13 degree difference. And this system is moving 20 miles, 20 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour. That's fast for these systems. Normal average, I think, is like 10 to 14.
Idiots. So this is the 5 o'clock track change. And honestly, since they named this storm yesterday at 11 a.m., there hasn't been many large.
Okay, it's 22, moving west at 22. That's at a pretty good clip.
Large changes to the overall forecast track here. It's really after we get past the next 5 days, which is how far the NHC track goes out, we start to see some big changes with variations in terms of what models think may happen. And that really kind of plays into the overall steering that I'm going to get to. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that in just a couple minutes. So here's the track without further ado. Again, 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm by tomorrow afternoon.
So today at 2 p.m., 50. So that's, still a kind of weak tropical storm. And then 70 is a high tropical storm here. And then by Friday, what did I say? Thursday. I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a hurricane early Thursday, noonish.
But by Thursday night into early Friday, we should have ourselves Hurricane Erin, first of the season. And then by Sunday afternoon, we should be up to a Category 3 major hurricane here just to the north of Puerto Rico. And I talked about not many big changes with the forecast track. There have been some subtle changes, like a subtle drop here to the west-southwest with the cone. So now that cone does clip the British Virgin Islands over to Anguilla and Barbuda, and even clips the northern coast of Puerto Rico there. Doesn't mean that...
Did I say Haiti? Oh, I'm such an idiot. That's Puerto Rico right there.
Erin's going to hit there. But the possibilities there, as we get farther out, notice how the cone gets bigger and certainly gets larger the farther out in time you go. So it's a possibility here, but mostly favoring probably the northern end of the cone, I'd say, as we get to that point. But could be a Category 3 major hurricane.
If they do get brushed by this, it'll be on the western side, so it won't be as bad. If this came up like this here, it'd be a different story. But I don't think this is going to be a problem. But what else is there to talk about?
This point of Sunday afternoon. Now, I talked about after that how
look at this. These are all spaghetti plots. Very few of them have this going into the Gulf, though. So that's good news, because if it gets into here, it's going to be a big problem. But this looks like it's going to be a fish story here.
Certain things get. And you can see here, even by like day 3, we're seeing a lot of ensemble members, which is each white line here is a run of either the GFS, Canadian, or Euro. They run ensemble members, which is the same model, runs several different.
We don't care about the Canadian model.
Times, dozens of times in some cases. And they tweak the initialization, changing a variable slightly to see if we get a different outcome. So that's why there's such a large spread here. But even by like day 2 and 3, you notice a lot of these ensemble members are coming outside of the cone. And certainly...
Put it this way, I definitely think Florida's out, because that's where the high pressure is going to set up. So Florida's pretty much out. It's going to be really hot in Florida over the weekend, but that's good news, because that high ridge of pressure there, the high dome of pressure there over Florida, is just basically going to prevent this from making a Florida landfall.
After you get past 5 days, you see a spread here from the Bahamas to well east of Bermuda. And you'll notice here a general trend is that a turn to the west-northwest and then a turn due north and then northeast is heavily favored.
We call this the elevator. This happens all the time in the Atlantic in August, beginning of September. They look so great coming towards us, and then they just take the elevator up and out. It's just, it's all because of this Bermuda high here. It's normal for this. But the trough here from, I'd say, the upper Canadian Maritimes here is going to kind of hook this thing like a fishing hook and just draw it into it and pull it away from the coast.
By almost every single model. Are there some outliers? Yes, there always will be. like you see, there's definitely a cluster of storms or cluster of ensemble members here that take it much farther to the west, closer to the U.S. East Coast, but the majority of which have been trending farther to the east. Still possibility of impacts to land like Bermuda. Coast would likely be indirect impacts, coastal erosion, rip currents, heavy surf. Could see some 10, 15-foot swells if we get a Category 3 major hurricane moving up parallel to the eastern seaboard. So that could be some indirect threats there. But in terms of a landfalling system, can I completely rule it out? Absolutely not. But as of right now, with our data in hand, it's looking more likely like a turn to the north and then northeast staying.
Okay, so that's it. That's what we're going to do. I hope you guys have a good night. You guys are awesome. I appreciate everybody coming in and listening to my bullshit for a couple of minutes. But I'll do another probably update tomorrow morning when I get back from work. I'm going to try to come on at some point, either this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, or maybe Friday afternoon, because I want to do my football picks for the season. That's kind of like a yearly thing me and my son do. So I'll probably be doing that. I'm going to do it on this channel here instead of my DGR Dave channel here. I might just get rid of my DGR Dave channel. So I might be doing that. So be aware of that. But I appreciate everybody for coming. It's always awesome to see Melissa Wildcard in here. Thank you so much for coming in. You're awesome. Miss you guys all the time when I don't see you guys around. I'm a worrywart, so if I don't see you guys around, I just worry a little bit. Mustang, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. Adrian Miller, thank you. I'm pretty sure I know who you are. Paula, you're awesome. Have a great day. Everybody have a great day. Peggy O was in here. Thank you, Peggy O, for coming in. I always miss you on the sign-outs. Who else was in here? I can't believe I had this many people in here for my Tropics update. Big Fish, Small Pond, good to see you. Cumberson 55, good to see you too. West Side Crime Show, good to see you. I think I know who that is. What else here? I think that's it. I'll play my outro and get the hell. Miranda was in here. Sorry, I almost forgot. And Dandy was. I almost forgot Dandy. Thank you, Dandy, for coming in. You're awesome. Dandy's amazing. Dandy is just absolutely freaking amazing person. Miranda is too. All right, let me play my outro and get the hell out of here. You guys are awesome. Everybody have a great day, and I'll see you guys at some point soon. Let me get rid of this here. Like I said, I'll try to do another update tomorrow. I'll play my outro and take off right here. Have a good day, guys.